A woman named Sandra came into my clinic on a Tuesday morning, carrying her dog in her arms. His name was Biscuit, a 7-year-old beagle. He was shaking. His gums were pale. His eyes had that look, the one I've learned to recognize after 22 years. The look that says something has gone very wrong, very fast. Sandra was crying before she even sat down. She told me she had given him peanut butter that morning. The natural kind. The healthy kind. The kind she had been buying for 2 years because she thought it was better for him. I ran his blood work within the hour. His liver enzyme levels were nearly 8 times the normal range. His blood glucose had crashed. His body was already beginning to fail. The peanut butter she bought, and I have seen this more times than I can count, contained xylitol. You may not know that name yet. By the end of this video, you will never forget it. Because here is what nobody told Sandra. What nobody told the hundreds of owners I've spoken with over 2 decades. The ingredients destroying your dog's liver are not in obscure products. They are in things you buy every week. Things labeled natural. Things labeled healthy. Things your dog loves. There are 5 of them. And I'm going to walk through every single one with you today. No expensive prescriptions. No complicated protocols. Just the truth, and exactly what to do about it. Stay with me, because what comes next could save your dog's life. Let me explain something they don't have time to explain at your regular vet visit. Your dog's liver is not just one organ among many. It is the central processing system for everything that enters their body. Every bite of food, every sip of water, every supplement, every treat, every pill you crush into their bowl. All of it passes through the liver first. Think of it like the water treatment facility for an entire city. When the facility is working correctly, contaminants get filtered out, clean water flows through, and the city stays healthy. But what happens when you start sending chemicals through that system that it wasn't designed to handle? At first, nothing visible. The facility compensates. It works harder. But day after day, meal after meal, the damage accumulates. And liver cells, unlike muscle cells or skin cells, do not regenerate quickly. Once they are destroyed, many are simply gone. Here is what makes this so dangerous. Your dog cannot tell you their liver hurts. There is no obvious symptom in the early stages. No yelping. No dramatic sign. They might sleep a little more, eat a little less. You chalk it up to age. And by the time the symptoms become impossible to ignore, the vomiting, the jaundice, the swollen abdomen, the damage is often already severe. I reviewed retrospective data on acute liver failure in dogs alongside my colleagues. What I found confirmed what I had seen in my own clinic. 57% of those dogs developed neurological complications during hospitalization. 48% showed full liver necrosis on biopsy. Those are not statistics. Those were somebody's dog. Now here is what I need you to understand. This is not about age. This is not about breed. A 4-year-old husky can go into acute liver failure within hours of a single exposure to the right toxin. A 7-year-old beagle can have his liver destroyed by something sold in every grocery store in this country. The problem is not your dog's body. The problem is what we are putting into it. So let's talk about what that actually is. Now, here is what makes this personal for me. I have spent 22 years as a veterinary internal medicine specialist. I have performed thousands of examinations, biopsies, and emergency interventions. I have held animals in the last hours of their lives while their owners sat on the floor of my clinic because they couldn't stand up. And every single time, I ask myself the same question. How did it get this far? The answer, in case after case, is not a mystery disease. It is not bad genetics. It is not bad luck. It is what that animal was eating every single day, or what was hidden inside something that looked completely safe. I make these videos because I cannot see every dog in this country, but I can tell you what I know. And what I know is that most of the damage I have witnessed over 2 decades was preventable. Here are the 5 things I need you to know about. Danger number 1. Xylitol, the silent killer in your kitchen. When did you last read the ingredient label on your dog's peanut butter? I want you to actually think about that. Not the front of the jar. The back. The ingredient list. Because here is what I know from clinical experience. Peanut butter is the #1 vehicle owners use to give their dogs pills. And a growing number of natural and sugar-free peanut butter products now contain an ingredient called xylitol. I know what you're thinking. It's a sweetener. How dangerous can a sweetener be? Here is the mechanism. When a dog ingests xylitol, their pancreas responds as if a massive amount of sugar just entered the bloodstream. It releases insulin, 3 to 7 times the amount that the same quantity of regular sugar would trigger. The dog's blood glucose crashes within 30 to 60 minutes. That is the first wave. The second wave is what I find in my clinic. At higher doses, xylitol metabolites destroy liver cells directly. They deplete a molecule called ATP, the fuel that keeps liver cells alive. Without it, the cells simply shut down and die. Liver enzyme levels begin rising within 4 to 12 hours. Clinical liver failure can present within 24 to 48 hours. According to a landmark study published in the Journal of the American Veterinary Medical Association, 62.5% of dogs that developed liver injury from xylitol died or had to be euthanized, despite aggressive veterinary treatment. For a small 10-pound dog, less than half a gram of xylitol is enough to trigger hypoglycemia. A single piece of sugar-free gum can contain between 0.2 and 1 full gram. And here is the part that stops me cold every time I think about it. Xylitol is not banned. The FDA does not require it to be prominently labeled. It can appear on an ingredient list as birch sugar, wood sugar, birch bark extract, or the EU additive code E967. What you are looking for, the ingredient list on any peanut butter, chewable vitamin, sugar-free snack, or liquid medication you give your dog should contain no xylitol in any form. For peanut butter specifically, the only acceptable ingredients are peanuts, and possibly salt. That is it. Have you ever checked the back of your dog's peanut butter? Tell me in the comments. Danger number 2. Aflatoxin, the invisible poison in dry kibble. Here is something that should change how you think about the bag of kibble sitting in your pantry. Between December 2020 and August 2021, more than 130 dogs died. Over 220 more became seriously ill. All of them were eating the same type of product, dry kibble contaminated with aflatoxin. Aflatoxin B1 is produced by a mold called Aspergillus flavus. It grows on corn and other grains under certain storage conditions. And here is what makes it so insidious. You cannot see it. There is no visible mold, no bad smell. The food looks completely normal. It tastes normal to your dog. But aflatoxin is metabolized exclusively in the liver. At low levels, chronic exposure causes cumulative liver damage and immune suppression. At higher levels, the ones found in their 2020 recall, which tested at over 500 parts per billion, more than 25 times the legal limit, it causes acute liver failure, internal hemorrhaging, and death. The FDA's action level for aflatoxin in pet food is 20 parts per billion. Toxic effects in dogs begin at 60 parts per billion. The gap between legal and dangerous is smaller than most people realize. What you are looking for, check the primary grains in your dog's kibble. Rice, oats, barley, and millet carry significantly lower aflatoxin risk than corn-based formulas. Look for brands that publish third-party mycotoxin testing, and bookmark the FDA's pet food recall page. The link is in the description below. Danger number 3. High-fat table scraps and fatty treats. This one feels like common knowledge. But in my experience, common knowledge and common practice are very different things. Chronic exposure to high-fat foods, bacon fat, fried table scraps, fatty skin from chicken, rich treats, does not just cause weight gain in dogs. It causes a condition called hepatic lipidosis, fat accumulation inside liver cells. Over time, it impairs the liver's ability to function and process everything else that enters the body. It also triggers pancreatitis, inflammation of the pancreas, which creates secondary toxic stress on the liver. The action here is simple. High-fat human food is not a treat. It is a slow accumulation of damage. If you want to give your dog something special, a small piece of plain cooked chicken, a baby carrot, or a blueberry does what you want it to do emotionally, without what fatty foods do biologically. Before I give you dangers 4 and 5, I want to mention something. I've put together a complete guide, every toxic ingredient, every safe alternative, and the exact supplement protocols I use for dogs with compromised liver function. The link is in the description. It is the most thorough resource I have ever compiled. Now, number 4 is the one that surprises people the most. Danger number 4. Liquid medications containing xylitol. I need to pause here because this one comes from veterinary clinics themselves, and most owners have no idea. When a dog is prescribed a liquid medication, gabapentin for pain, certain compounded antibiotics, some anti-nausea drugs, the pharmacy may sweeten that liquid with xylitol to make it palatable. The medication was prescribed by a veterinarian. The pharmacy compounded it with care, and it contains a substance that can send the dog into acute liver failure. This is documented. It is real. And it is underreported because owners assume that a medication given by a vet is automatically safe for their dog. What you do, every time your veterinarian prescribes a liquid medication, ask one specific question. Is this formula xylitol-free? Request xylitol-free compounding if it is not. Your pharmacist can make this change. It costs nothing extra. This is one of the most important questions you will ever ask at a veterinary appointment. Danger number 5. Onion and garlic powder in human food. You likely know that onions and garlic are toxic to dogs. But what most people don't realize is that the powdered, concentrated forms are far more dangerous than fresh, and they are hidden in products that don't look like they would contain them. Onion powder and garlic powder show up in broths, baby food that is commonly used to entice sick dogs to eat, seasoning blends, certain canned meats, and flavored crackers. A tablespoon of onion powder contains the equivalent toxicity of multiple whole onions. The mechanism: these compounds cause Heinz body hemolytic anemia, the destruction of red blood cells. As the body processes the damaged cells, the liver takes on a significant secondary toxic load. In dogs with already compromised liver function, this can accelerate organ failure. What you are looking for: never give your dog any human food that contains onion powder, garlic powder, or any seasoning blend without first reading every ingredient. The words natural flavors and spices can obscure these ingredients. When in doubt, plain and unseasoned is always safer. Now, I want you to see what all 5 of these have in common. Xylitol destroys liver cells through ATP depletion. Aflatoxin accumulates and causes liver cell necrosis over time. Chronic fat drives fatty liver disease and pancreatic inflammation. Hidden xylitol in medications poisons the organ it was meant to protect. Onion and garlic powders force the liver into a secondary toxic crisis it was never meant to manage. 5 different mechanisms. 5 different sources. But they all arrive at the same place. A liver working harder and harder to compensate, until it can't. And here is the thing about the liver that gives me hope as a clinician. It is one of the most resilient organs in the body. Given the right conditions, given the removal of the toxic inputs, it can regenerate. It can heal. I have seen dogs come back from liver enzyme readings that would have made a pessimist give up. But only if we make the change. Every single one of these 5 dangers is avoidable. Not with expensive medication. Not with special food ordered from somewhere you've never heard of. With a label. With a question asked at a pharmacy. With a decision made tonight at the dinner table when your dog looks up at you with those eyes. 5 different doors. All leading to the same room. A dog whose liver can actually do its job. I want to go back to Sandra for a moment. Biscuit spent 4 days in my clinic. We stabilized his blood glucose. We gave him compounds to support his liver cells as they began to repair. We monitored his enzymes around the clock. On the 4th day, his values began to move in the right direction. On the 7th day, he went home. Sandra called me 3 weeks later. She was crying again, but differently this time. Biscuit had started playing in the backyard. He had eaten his dinner. He had slept on the couch next to her the night before. She said, "Why didn't anyone tell me this sooner?" I didn't have a perfect answer for her. I still don't. The information exists. The research is clear, but it doesn't make it onto the back of a jar. It doesn't always make it into a 15-minute appointment. That question stays with me. It is part of why I make videos like this one. Because somewhere right now, there is a dog eating something that is slowly destroying one of their most vital organs. And their owner has no idea. Because they did everything they thought was right. You now know something they don't. Let me say these 5 things one more time, clearly. 1. Check every peanut butter, chewable supplement, and sugar-free product for xylitol, also listed as bird sugar, wheat sugar, or E967. Peanut butter should contain peanuts. That is all. 2. Look at the primary grain in your dog's kibble. Rice, oats, and barley carry far less aflatoxin risk than corn. Bookmark the FDA's pet food recall page and check it regularly. 3. High-fat table scraps are not treats. They are slow liver damage. Plain, unseasoned protein or a small piece of fruit does the same thing for your dog emotionally without the long-term cost. 4. Every time a liquid medication is prescribed for your dog, ask specifically, is this xylitol-free? That one question can be the difference between healing and harm. 5. Onion powder and garlic powder are hidden in human foods you may not expect. Bruvs, baby food, seasoning blends. Always read the full ingredient list before sharing anything. Now, pick just one. Not all 5. Just the one that feels most immediate to you tonight. Maybe it's walking to the pantry right now and reading the label on that peanut butter jar. Maybe it's searching your brand of kibble on the FDA recall page. Maybe it's making a note to ask about compounding next time your dog needs a liquid medication. Just one. There are people in your life, friends, family members, people in your neighborhood, whose dogs need exactly this information right now, and they have no idea it exists. Share this video. It takes 3 seconds. It could matter more than you know. Your dog has been by your side through everything. Every hard day. Every quiet evening. Every moment when you needed them and they simply showed up. They never asked for anything except to be with you. They deserve this. One change. Tonight. Everything I've shared today is general information based on current veterinary research and my clinical experience. It is not a replacement for your pet's personal veterinary care. If you believe your dog has been exposed to any of the substances discussed in this video, please contact your veterinarian immediately or call the ASPCA Animal Poison Control Center at 888-426-4435. They are available 24 hours a day. Please consult your veterinarian before making any changes to your dog's diet or supplement routine, especially if your dog has existing health conditions or is currently on medication. Your vet is your partner in this, and so am I.